My stepdad secretly recorded my private moments. Have you ever had that moment when you discover something so shocking that it feels like your world has been turned upside down? That's exactly what happened to me. My stepdad, 63 hid a camera in my 18F room. I never thought I'd be the protagonist of such a twisted tale, but here I am, sharing this story with you. Let me take you back to the beginning. It was a regular Thursday afternoon, and I was just tidying up my room when I noticed something strange. There it was, snuggled in a basket on my bookshelf, a tiny camera. The moment I saw it, a chill ran down my spine. I knew what it was, and I had a pretty good idea of who might have put it there. My stepdad, who has been married to my mom for 16 years, immediately came to mind. This man had seen me grow from a child into an adult, and the thought of him invading my privacy like this was unbearable. But before I could confront anyone, I needed to see what was on that camera. So I took it, my heart pounding in my chest, and plugged the micro SD card into my laptop. As the video started to play, the reality of the footage hit me harder than I could have ever imagined. There were endless videos of me changing clothes, but that wasn't the worst part. The footage also showed him rummaging through my belongings, my personal space. He was going through my dirty laundry, my drawers, even taking my clean underwear and putting them in his pants before placing them back. I felt a mixture of rage, disgust, and a profound sense of violation. Making the decision to press charges was not easy. When I told my mom, I expected her to be on my side, but her reaction left me feeling even more isolated. She seemed more concerned for him than for me. Can you imagine? Here I was, her daughter, whose privacy had been so deeply invaded, and she was worried about her husband. It felt like a betrayal. Feeling pushed out of my own home, I decided to stay at a hotel. My mom thought I was being silly, but I couldn't face being there any longer. The place that was supposed to be my sanctuary now felt unsafe and unwelcoming. Is it normal to feel this way? To want to distance myself from the place where my privacy was invaded so horribly? My mom's reaction only made things worse. It wasn't just about the invasion of privacy anymore. It was about feeling misunderstood and unsupported by the person who should have been there for me the most. In the midst of all this, I was overwhelmed with a plethora of emotions. Shock was the first feeling, followed by waves of anger, sadness, and confusion. And then, of course, there were the inevitable doubts. Was I overreacting? Was it normal to feel so violated? But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that my feelings were valid. This wasn't just a small invasion of privacy. It was a complete violation of my personal space and trust. To those of you who might think I'm lying for attention or karma, let me assure you I'm not. This is my reality, as surreal and unbelievable as it may sound. When I found the camera, it had a micro SD card that recorded video and audio whenever there was movement. The footage started on Monday, and I found the camera on Thursday. That's 4 days of my life that he recorded without my knowledge or consent. I decided to press charges. I had to, for my own sanity and for the sake of justice. My mom said it was up to me if I wanted to press charges and even allowed me to kick him out the day I found the camera. But her comments, her hints of greater concern for him than for me, were a strange and painful reaction to witness. I had to keep reminding myself that she was processing this in her own way, even if it was hurtful to me. Now that the initial shock has mostly subsided, I feel foolish for ever doubting my reaction. The severity of what happened is crystal clear to me now. I've had a conversation with my mom about what exactly was on the videos, although I couldn't bring myself to show them to her, and how her reaction made me feel. I've gone to the police and am awaiting the legal process. I'll be seeking mental health support because, quite frankly, I don't even know what I feel anymore. It's a mess of emotions that I can't untangle on my own. Despite him no longer being in the house, I have no desire to stay there. It doesn't feel like home anymore. So I'm looking at new places, trying to find somewhere that I can feel safe and start to heal. I wish I could say this is where the story ends, but it's not. One day, while I was packing my things, I found something else hidden in my room, a small notebook. It was tucked away behind my dresser, a place I rarely ever looked. Curiosity got the better of me, and I opened it. What I found inside made my blood run cold. It was filled with notes, detailed entries about my daily routines, my habits, and even my private thoughts and conversations. It was like he had been keeping a diary about me, meticulously recording everything I did. This revelation was like a punch to the gut. It wasn't just the camera. He had been spying on me in other ways too. How long had this been going on? And why? The notebook added a whole new layer of horror to an already nightmarish situation. It made me feel even more violated, if that was even possible. I decided to take the notebook to the police as well. It was more evidence of his obsession and invasion of my privacy. But as I was leaving the house, my mom stopped me. She looked at me with tears in her eyes and apologized. She said she hadn't realized the extent of what he had done, and that she was sorry for not being there for me. It was a small comfort, but it was something. The legal process was long and grueling. There were days when I felt like giving up, when the emotional toll was too much to bear. But I kept going, driven by the need for justice and the desire to ensure he couldn't do this to anyone else. My mom started going to therapy to understand why she reacted the way she did and to support me better. It was a slow process, but we were both trying to heal. In the end, my stepdad was found guilty of multiple charges, including invasion of privacy and harassment. He was sentenced to several years in prison. It was a relief, but it didn't erase the trauma of what had happened. Healing takes time, and some days are better than others. But I'm getting there, one step at a time. If there's one thing I've learned from this ordeal, it's the importance of trusting your instincts and standing up for yourself, even when it's hard. No one has the right to invade your privacy or make you feel unsafe in your own home. And if you're ever in a situation like this, know that you're not alone. There are people who will believe you and support you. It might not be easy, but justice is worth fighting for. So here I am, moving forward with my life. It's not the life I imagined, but it's mine, and I'm determined to make it a good one. You might think that would be the end of the story, but there's more. Just when I thought things were starting to settle, I received a letter in the mail. No return address, just my name on the envelope. Inside was a single piece of paper with a cryptic message, "You don't know the whole truth." At first, I thought it was a cruel prank, maybe from someone who had heard about my ordeal. But the more I thought about it, the more it gnawed at me. What truth could I possibly be missing? The camera? The notebook? It all seemed pretty clear. But curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to investigate further. I went through my stepdad's old things that had been left behind. It felt invasive, but I needed answers. In a dusty box in the attic, I found another notebook, similar to the one I had already discovered. This one, however, was older and more worn. As I flipped through the pages, a horrifying pattern began to emerge. He had been doing this for years, spying on not just me, but on my mom too. The notes detailed her routines, her habits, even intimate moments between her and past partners before she married my stepdad. The realization hit me like a freight train. My mom had been a victim too, long before I ever was. It made her reaction to my discovery make a twisted sort of sense. She had been so deeply conditioned to his invasions that she couldn't see them for what they were. This revelation added another layer to my pain, but also gave me a strange sense of solidarity with her. We had both been violated by this man, and now we both needed to heal. I confronted my mom with the new notebook, and the look on her face was one of pure devastation. She broke down, and for the first time, we cried together about what had happened to us. It was a turning point in our relationship, a step towards mutual understanding and healing. I gave the new evidence to the police, and it added weight to the case against my stepdad. His sentence was extended, and I felt a small sense of justice being served. But more importantly, it allowed my mom and me to begin the process of truly moving on. Healing is never a straight path, and there are still days when the memories haunt me, but knowing that my mom and I are in this together, supporting each other, makes the journey a bit easier. We're both seeking therapy now, working through our trauma and trying to rebuild our lives. It's a long road, but we're walking it together.